I want to show you a product that I discovered. Actually, let me take out my hearing protection for a second. This is called the QuickDraw, and they make two versions depending upon the type of lead that you use in them. I like this tape a lot. I don't use it all the time. For example, when I'm doing trim work where I can batch cut a lot of parts to the same size, I will use I'll set up a stop on my rails, and then I'll just duplicate my parts. That way I only have to measure it once and I can register it off my fence. But when I'm doing a pile of baseboard like I am right now, or if I'm even doing crown molding or chair rail or anything with a lot of individual measurements, I love this kind of a solution. What this tape does is it eliminates the need for me to measure, pull out a pencil, make a mark, put the pencil back, and then reel the tape in. And those kind of, all that extra work takes a lot of extra steps. Let me show you how this works. So, for example, my first cut is 128.5. So what I'm gonna do, here's my indicator, this blade. So I'm gonna sight straight down and I can read my tape. It's in easy to read tape measurements. I'm gonna hook it on the end and then I'm gonna drag it out to my measurement, 128.5. And what's so slick about it is, 128.5. It has a piece of graphite under spring tension, so pushing down on a rotating wheel. And all I have to do is roll it like that, and I leave a very noticeable mark on my piece, which I can then cut to. It comes with, I think it's 10 refills. It's enough to last for a long time, and they sell additional refills. Basically, you just lift up the spring held thing like that, drop in the new lead, and then release it. If you really want to make a dark measurement, you can actually push down on this as you're making your mark. But here's what's going on. This little metal roller is perfectly aligned with your tape. And in practice, I actually use it in two different ways. I either find my measurement and I lock it to that, and I use it like a marking gauge. So I can actually take it into a job and mark parts or make cuts on sheet goods and then use a straight edge and cut things like that. Or when I'm cutting something like this and I want to move very quickly, what I'll do is I will use my finger to basically stop the tape, and then I'll just drag it. So I'll drag it like that. Very quick. So I don't use the stop very often, but what I do is I leave this tape at the saw and I go through the job measuring with my other tape, and I make all my measurements. So laser or a tape measure, whatever makes sense for the measurements, and then I come back and I consider this part of my saw setup to cut through my cut list. So I think it's a good device. This is the second one that I have. I got one for my shop and one for the field, and I do recommend it. It's called QuickDraw, and you can find them online. I think they sell these on Amazon too.